Recapping where we left off in part 1, I cleaned the Macintosh Color Classic chassis. I installed my 80 megabyte SCSI drive that originally was in my Macintosh 2 CI before I put a SCSI to SD board in it. And then we used Adrian's Color Classic board that he repaired in his video series. There'll be a link in my description to that. We installed it into my chassis to test that it worked and the CRT worked, and we confirmed it did work. And we left off with me not having my own board for the machine. But thank you to a viewer from my channel, I have now solved that problem. So we're going to go out and see what I've got on my workbench. That's right, you're going to get to see my workbench where I do some of the work on these old vintage computers. So hang on and we will step out there momentarily. Here we are at the workbench, and what you see in front of you is not a Color Classic motherboard, but a LC575 motherboard, also known as the Mystic upgrade, that has the 68040 processor. That is right here. And this is the low-cost version. You can see the LC right there, which basically means this does not have an FPU. But before we can even address that, this board is unknown working condition. It does have video RAM. It does have a stick of 72-pin memory in it. I don't know the size of either of those memories, for the video or the regular RAM. And I can't even plug it into my Color Classic to test to find out, because even though this board can just plug right in, there's a mod that you have to do. It's called the Logic Board mod. But before I even do that mod, I'm going to recap it because it has the original caps all around the board here. We'll just kind of pan around and look at it. I don't see any leakage on the board, maybe minimal. So I'm going to clean the board. I'm going to recap it. I have some caps on order. Those should be here soon. And then after I recap it, I'm going to do the Logic Board mod. Can't even talk. So let's turn the board over here and I'll show you where those mods have to take place. Right in this area here, I'm zooming in, let me get my little pointer here. I'm trying to do this in handheld mode. So in this section right here, basically I'm going to need to remove a small resistor. It's a 0 ohm resistor at R116, and I think, let's see, come on, focus, 116. It's this little resistor right here that I'm pointing to. Super tiny. I have to remove that, and after I remove that resistor, I need to add a 4.7k ohm resistor to location R109. And what is it? Yeah, 1R09 is right here. So right in this spot, I need to add that 4.7k ohm resistor. And the final thing that I need to do is check R10, and if there's a resistor there, remove it. And R10, this is hard to do. R10 it's somewhere over in this area. But as you see when I back out, those are some small things that I need to solder and deal with, but I can do that. I've got my handy dandy weller over there, and down here on the bottom of my workbench I've got my hot air station. I can pull that up here, and over here Macintosh, because we're in March right now at the time of recording this video. Just a little quick housekeeping. I kept saying R10 to check for a resistor there. It's actually R110, so R110, and on the board that is right there. So I just wanted to correct that really quick. Okay, I'm now back inside after doing the Logic Board mod to my LC575 board. Basically, I needed to remove a 0 ohm resistor that was located at R116. Then I needed to solder a 4.7k ohm resistor to location R109. Then finally, I needed to check R110 to see if there was a resistor there, and if so, remove it. On my board, I didn't have that resistor, so there was nothing to remove. Boom, Bob's my uncle. The board is pretty much ready to be tested. One thing you'll notice, I did not recap the board yet. Reason being, I don't know if it works. I didn't want to put the work in and then it didn't work. So I'm going to test it, then I'll do a recap. I do have the caps. I ordered those from Console 5. And I ordered tantalum, which are the caps that I like to use. Let's see what else. I also removed the original 16 megabyte memory chip that was in the board. And I added a 32 megabyte chip right here. So with the 4 megs on board and the 32, that gives me 36. Last but not least, I need to put in the real-time clock battery that I ordered. And I'll have a link to that in the description, as well as the caps from Console 5. And what else? Oh yeah, a link to Power CC that gives you a step-by-step on how to do the Mystic upgrade to the board. So hold on a moment. I'm going to put the real-time clock battery in, and then we'll put it in the machine and see what happens. Here we are up close and personal with the 4.5 volt real-time clock battery. It's plugged in. Next steps, put this board into my Color Classic, do a smoke test, and let's see if this board works. Alright, here is the moment of truth. Going to power up my Macintosh Color Classic with the LC575 board installed. Fingers crossed, this is going to work. Let's do this. Alright, we got the startup chime. It will take a minute for the screen to come up, I've read, because it's doing the memory check behind the scenes. So we'll just hang out here for a moment and watch the screen, and we should see a Macintosh OS boot screen. Let's see what happens. Still waiting. Oh, and there it is. Welcome to Macintosh. Awesome, it is booting up. There's Mac OS 7.5.5. Oh man, I am so happy that this is working. Let's let it finish booting up. All right, and we've got the desktop coming up. This is great. Sweet. Let's open up the hard drive. I'm going to go right into games, Lemmings. Let's fire up Lemmings. Oh, that looks so good. So good. And there is Lemmings. Oh, this is awesome. This is so awesome. It looks so good. Cool, let's pop out of here. Let's bring up Crystal Quest. I know it's got a demo. Go hit D for demo. All right, the machine works. This is so great. Now that the machine is tested and working with the LC575 board, it's time to put on the back plate. Here is the original back plate, but as you can see, the ports no longer line up. It's not going to work. So to solve that problem, I need to 3D print a new bracket. And thanks to Power CC on the Mystic upgrade page that I have a link in the description to, there's a link to an STL file to 3D print. So let's grab that and go over to the 3D printer. Here we are at my 3D printer, which is the Maker Farm 8-inch Prusa i3. It's an older 3D printer, but it gets the job done. However, it only has an 8-inch bed in the original back piece for the Color Classic. Got a tape measure here. 9 inches. The bed is 8 inches. So it's an inch short. And they say size doesn't matter. Well, ha ha. Size does matter in this case, so I'm not going to be able to print the back plate. But I do have a friend that has a grown-up 3D printer. So I'm going to reach out to him and see if he'll print that up for me. It's now a few days later, and thanks to NES Generation, they were kind enough to 3D print with their grown-up 3D printer the back plate that I needed to fit the LC575 board in my Color Classic. Here is the original back panel. Here again is the 3D printed one. You can see some differences, how the SCSI ports and the ADB ports and serial and audio in and out ports, they line up a little different. There's some clips here that are not here, but that's okay because up here, these are for security screws, I guess to keep people out. But I am going to use those to secure this panel. Put that right there. You'll notice it just fits like a glove. I've got the screws right there. I will install those and we'll be good to go. The screws are installed, the back panel is secure, and it looks really good. At some point I will paint it to match, but for now I'm just going to leave it. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. Future plans, paint that back panel, and I am going to recap the motherboard, but I'm going to save that for another video. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Please check out the links in my description to all the people, places, and things mentioned in my video. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe, healthy, and we'll see you in the next video.